Welcome back, everybody. This is Brother Meat here. Today we're going to continue our quest to beat Pathfinder Kingmaker. Now, if you recall from our last episode, I said that I would actually look up a few things, and I have. I wrote some notes down from Google, Wikipedia, and all that fun stuff. Know that I am doing this run with mods. As such, you will see things that are in my game that are not in the vanilla version of the game. Eldritch Arcana being a staple here. Gives me a couple spells you guys don't have access to, traits that were never implemented in the game. This allows me to make an undead character. Notice that we'll also have things like turn-based combat versus your real-time with pause, a few other fiddly bits, but by and large more quality of life improvements than anything else. Let's get into it, shall we? Now, the things that I have looked up for you guys, I'm not going to unload the entire double page worth of stuff on you at once. What I'm going to do is every time we basically hit a loading screen, I'm going to actually read off something from the list to give you a heads up on what's going on. For instance, crisis points, I said I'd look that up to see how you actually earn those or actually can purchase them. I heard two different versions online. One is that every time you rank up a kingdom stat, you get another crisis point. So again, it benefits you to actually rank up your characters. Not surprising. Then you can actually buy, supposedly, crisis points from Hassif, and I actually did not see that before, so we want to go check that. So that's one of the first little tidbit that I'll pass along. Now again, that last one is a grain of salt. We will check on it. No, again, we're still waiting for Octavia to be freed up so she can do this particular check. We are a couple days at least before the end of this month, but that's the 8th month, and then it's the 9th. So technically speaking, she should still be available for doing that. As far as everyone else, we got one storyteller that's going to be done in 6 days. And this basically upgrades his plus 11 to 12 or 13 more likely than not. And I've invested into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things. Now why she's not on this list? Let's see. Is she actually hidden somewhere for me? Oh, here she is. I'm not even paying attention. Okay, there we go. So she is currently busy and only has a 55% chance to pass it. So all these ones that are going to turn in here in about 14 days, we want to be here to watch them turn in. This one here is going to be a solid guaranteed. So that's no issue there. So let's actually bounce out of the kingdom here for a moment. We want to go talk to Hassif real quick just to see if crisis points were on his list, and I just did not see it. I think the people made the mistake thinking online that crisis points were the same as builder points, and I don't think that that's an issue here then. But I want to prove it to myself, because again, I wasn't looking, I wasn't really paying attention, and I have no idea how much they cost or what category they are. So if we literally just alphabetize everything, which you can do, you just look in the C category and crisis points should show up in the C's, if it is even available. So that's something that we're going to do right now. Other things that I've looked up, just to give you a heads up what's coming later. The shrines, there's 5 of them, like I thought. I thought that there's at least more than 3. So there are 5, and one of them isn't even called Shrine or Mysterious Shrine. I think it's called Giggling Hill, and that may be the last one, so that might be a thing. A couple of them were specifically in Pitax territory. So again, until we actually are able to roam into Pitax proper, we probably aren't going to be able to do a whole lot. I can, of course, solve the first 2 or 3 that we have access to, which might be something we do today, but isn't necessary until you really can be able to do all 5, in my opinion. Let's see. What do you got there, Hassif? Again, let's go by name. Books don't count by name, by the way. So, C, Crisis. Crowbar. Nope. I thought as much. So, again, they probably think of builder points. Let's actually look under points, just to make sure it's not like a weird thing. I don't see anything about that. Okay. So, yeah, he literally, they must have been thinking of the builder points. So, just someone's misinterpretation of what someone was asking for. So, let's actually bounce out of here. Again, we have about 6 days to dilly-dink around. And that's because the other guy will be turning his stuff in. I don't want to take the same people every time, so let's actually start switching some stuff around here. We never take out Jathel anymore, our other undead buddy. And she's a good front runner, so we can actually turn her back into range and have her melee. And she's healing enough, as well as her. Between the 2 of them, we should be fine. I do like having Jubilos, as you know, but we never get out, say, Octavia and Lindsay. Let's do that. It'll be something different. And again, we're not anticipating tough fights, so that's another issue here. So it makes it easier on us just to wander around with people that may be subpar, but they'll be, OP compared to everything else we're fighting in the area. So by the 4th of the next month, we want to make sure to be back. Of course, we're going to be in our kingdom anyway, so it's not like we're worried. But I'd still like being in the home base, so to speak. I don't think we have the ability to teleport here yet. Oh, wow, we do. That was fast. So it already has its teleportation circle. And it looks like we've already checked the area for stuff. Little flags or what do you call these? Signposts letting everyone know that it's my territory and I own that stuff, I guess. I don't see anything else around here that needs to be flagged. That doesn't mean that I haven't gotten everything. It just means I'm not paying attention. Shut the signs off, make it a little easier on myself to see these things. Sometimes it gets confusing because stuff that looks like it's something to be claimed is actually as a town. So it looks like we're good here. There was stuff I remember over here in this area. Specifically Farnhold here, economy, but I don't really care about that so much. This is Dunsor, we don't own that one yet. And of course all the stuff down here either we don't own, and that's Tours of Lebanese. Hope I'm saying that right. And of course we have yet to do anything in Pitax, and Pitax, once we beat the area, quote unquote beat the area, the main boss in that area, they just give us the town or the city. So we'll own that one before too long. But again, these ones again are Pitax territory, Pitax territory. We've claimed all these other ones over here. So we can actually start heading into these mysterious shrines and turning stuff in. So let's teleport to Glenshire. Okay. Let's see. Wicked Hill. That's a mysterious shrine, but we can't use that one. Let's put our little signs here back on. Let's hit that mysterious shrine here up. Remember, we already went to that one once before. I want to make sure to check it off the list, so to speak. Okay, so I still have yet to figure out how to solve the puzzle. I know, what I mean is, I know the answer, but I don't know how they come to this conclusion other than testing everything, which would be ridiculous. We're talking so many different permutations that it just would take you way too long to figure it out the old-fashioned way of just trial and error. So, God bless whoever it is that did this stuff. So, for this one here, this was the mysterious shrine by the river. Below Country Road, by river. Top left spot. So this one right here really is where it's supposed to be. So again, you could mark it anywhere you want on this thing, but this was the spot that it's supposed to be in, apparently. So we actually did that right. And I don't even know if we actually did anything to it. Let's head to another one. Left of Two-Faced Hill should be one. Let's see if we know where that's at. Two-Faced Hill, Two-Faced Hill. Right here. So that's this guy here. So we're just going to come to this spot. Actually, quick save while we're doing all this. And this one is supposed to be third column, second row.
I need to catch my breath.
You're going to be fine. Don't you even trip about it. Alright, so this one here. And again, I think it literally takes for all of them to be unlocked for us to benefit from it. That doesn't mean there's not stuff in the area, so we will check out the area. I honestly don't think there is anything here until you literally solve the puzzle. And once you solve the last puzzle, that's when you free that ghost that was talking to us. She was in prison here by her supposedly friends. And I think even if you read the story on it, it's like one of them was or even her brother. Straight up screwed her over. But I think if you understand the story, I think she was basically a crazy-ass bitch. So, that might have been part of it. The nearly erased inscription reads, "Farewell, my queen. Death was the best gift we could give you."
Follow
Yeah,
if
charming.
you dare.
Alright, so what did I say this one was going to be? Third column, which is clearly where it's at, second row. That's your guy right there. And again, I don't know
I'm there.
that there's anything here that lets us know that that's the place it should be. So I'm assuming this stuff would be either hidden in some sort of story, or perhaps it'll be something that's revealed to us later on. So we're kind of cheating here by doing this ahead of time. I don't care. I hate that we have to actually do these types of puzzles in the first place. I don't mind puzzles so much, but having multi-step puzzles in multiple locations to unlock one little thing seems very silly.
I need to catch my breath.
I know you do, but you got one more thing to do here. So we've done that one. Where's our next mysterious shrine? I want to say we had 3 of them. Isn't that true? So mysterious shrine 1 and 2. I know we had more over here. That's not the point. Wasn't there another one around here somewhere? I could have sworn we had another location. We did already. No, I think there was only 2 we had access to. Well, that straight up sucks. Oh, maybe it was over here. Mordecai. Passage. Rune Tower. Nope. Could have sworn that we had a 3rd one, though. Lonely Mill. Oh, by the way, for those of you that were looking for that massive boss fight that I took out way before when I keep talking about it, it's here in the Lonely Barrow. Okay. Again, easy enough to get to early on. That's why I give you that information, because again, if you want to scum it a little bit and you know juice your character up a little bit, if you can go solo, you think you can do that little trick like I mentioned before, feel free to do so. I think you'll enjoy that trick. Not necessary though. Again, you can wait. It doesn't look like we have anything else. We've done everything here. Wow, this strip sucks. Thought we were going to have more to do.
A rest would be welcome.
Actually, you know what? I am going to do something. Besides rest, I mean. Let's actually go here first to rest, because we can rest indoors. Doesn't cost us anything. And we apparently get a fight on the way. The thing we're going to do is we're actually going to try to invade Pitax one more time, because we have advanced the clock a bit. Maybe they'll let us in. So you see we have a fight waiting for us right here. Notice it's instantly after I attack or try to attack, whether it's a cast spell to directly hit something. If it was a fireball spell, I could have shot it and hit the guy with it if I didn't target him personally. If he just happened to be in the area of effect, then the combat would have started. But that person that would have cast the spell would have used their combat turn, or at least part of it. Okay. But notice, now that we've activated it, the fight, this is the surprise round. So we have Lindsay. You know it's the surprise round because of a couple things. One, there's nothing that says combat round 1 started or anything like that. Surprise round right there. And the fact that you only have 2 of your 3 pips. Okay, so one is an action / movement, and the other is your swift action. The other one is movement, period. So we can either double move or move and attack. Of course, the swift action is usually like a... in Lindsay's case, for instance, she can inspire courage, and that should count as her swift action. See that? That's only because she's a high enough level bard that she can do that. Otherwise, that would have taken her actual action to do so. Now, just because this is an action or a move doesn't mean you can't move and shoot at the same time. To do it, you need to do a 5-foot stutter step, move closer to your target so they're within range, and then let loose. You only get 1 shot in a surprise round, though, so don't think you're going to get like 17 attacks. She did hit. It did reduce damage, so they have a DR of 10, at least against piercing. So that's good information right there. And again, she has a magic weapon, so we know that that DR is not DR10/magic. It's probably DR10/dash, more likely than not. Here's Eliza's turn. She is our monk/inquisitor build, a monster tactician, no less. She has the ability to straight up hurt these guys a couple different ways. But let's have her do a quick stutter step. Try to go in between them at an angle. Can you get them? Both. Maybe. It's barely touching his little circle here. You see that little one around his feet? It's barely touching his circle. Let's see if it actually hits him as well as buffs us at the same time. Haha, did hit him. Yay. So that's a no save if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's just a spell resistance issue. Where it's a penalty to their swing, damage, saves, skill checks, and again a buff for us in the same regard. It doesn't last very long, but for one fight at the level that she's at, that's going to last for this entire fight. So that's a solid debuff to the bad guy. She even has a swift action, but she can't do anything, I don't think, in a swift action. Like these abilities of hers, they take longer than that to do. So even the fast stuff is a little slow. Dorraj's turn, on the other hand. Now he has a Rod of the Fearless. This is a Quicken Rod. So that's why we like this one, is because I can quicken cantrips. So let's have him do a 5-foot stutter step this way. And I can shoot this doofus in the face with a little acid splash. And notice that the rod did not get used up. That's a very nice trick that I found a long, long time ago. Having said that, I still have my turn. So, what do I want to do for my turn? We'll probably want to buff up. Let's actually hit ourselves with a solid mirror image. It's a straight screw you to the bad guys. If he hits me, it's entirely possible he completely misses me and hits the mirror image, or one of them. So, Proto, she could actually run some interference. Let's have her summon some pets here. And have her move this way. Oh, I forgot to switch her to a ranged weapon as well. Which we definitely want to do. These guys will keep this dude busy because they don't get to attack many times. They're strong enough they could probably wipe out 2 in a combat round. But that's all they're going to get. Jaethal, your turn, and you have that same trick. Get him, boys. Hacky, hacky. Slashy, slashy. Octavia's turn. She... Let's see, does she have any Metamagic Rod? She does. And I need to pull that down here. She's got this impromptu sneak attack onto it. I need to make sure that shit stays off. And her invisible thief as well. So we really need to kind of start consolidating this stuff a little more. Alright. But she has lesser quick and Metamagic Rod. And again, that same principle is applicable for her as it is for everybody else. Let's see if we can actually move within range of, say, a cantrip. Probably to this guy. So we do a 5-foot stutter step straight towards him. And then we highlight it. Sure enough we can. Sadly, she doesn't get sneak attack on him because he's either immune or because, again, we didn't activate our impromptu sneak attack. He was clearly flanked, though. So I got a feeling that he probably couldn't have been sneak attacked. And it's probably a staple for elementals. Lindsay's turn. Now it's the official combat round. Notice how it says round 1 started. So, what are we going to do here? I'm going to... What can you do for us, Linz, that can be helpful? You could cast... slow, yeah. They don't laugh. Ooh, Good Hope. Wait, is that a luck bonus? Oh, it's a morale bonus. Okay, good. So this is a spell called Good Hope. This guy is literally a solid buff, morale bonus to your saving throws, your attacks, ability and skill checks, and your damage. An amazing buff for your team. And again, very rare buff to get. I think the only one that gets that by default is the rogue, or I keep saying that, the bard. So a solid spell. Notice, just quickly, that's why her attack bonus is so much better. Not only do we have prayer, which we got cast from Eliza, but we also got morale bonus from Lindsay as a form of Good Hope. And of course everybody's damage and saves and everything is going to go up as well because of that. So we got really, really nice buffs as a result of those 1/2 spells. Lindsay still has time to do stuff. Let's just have her move a little closer to this one in case we need her to start shooting at that doofus.
You deserve
She can't right now because she used up her attack, but she has movement and she has swift action, of course, still. Eliza's turn. I say since this thing is clearly flanked, let's get all up in it.
Strike as one. Do not hold back.
Little bug there for where to walk. I'm going to have Dora. Can you charge this fool? Yeah, do so. There we go. That's some solid damage. Oh, we managed to scare him too. You don't like that. He's a quivering. Alright. Yeah, these guys are just kind of pushovers at this point. Proto, why don't you come this way? We can do sneak attack love on this doofus, but... Rod of Undeath, we need to shut that off. I have Rod of the Fearless, again the same as I had, the Quicken Magic Rod, basically. Let's do a cantrip. Again, they're flanked, so they're not getting sneak attack because of that, so that's not helping as far as that's concerned. But she can do other stuff, like straight hit him with a solid attack. Let's hit him with a paralysis spell called Icy Prison. Reflex saving throw failed. Very nicely done. And part of that was because he's at penalty. Prayer of Envy, see that? He would have failed it anyway. He would have gotten an 18 otherwise. So, a solid spell for us. That will allow that target to be not only paralyzed, but basically do cold damage to it every combat round. Since this is clearly taken care of, I'm just going to have Jaethal throw another attack at him. Weaken him. That's a solid 16. Start off his damage at least. And then you can come over here, Jaethal, and give me a hand. And you're on bows for some reason. What's that about? Okay, Octavia's turn. 5-foot stutter step again this way, kiddo. Now I want you to... Let's see, do you have that? Yeah, you do. Lesser Quicken right here. Let's do another cantrip. And even though it's lame damage, it's still damage, and she still gets her full attack. Oh. That's my bad. Alright. Lindsay Love, I want you to come this way.
Any last wishes?
Blow the hell out of that. Nice shot. Okay, work. She's no Ekin, but she's doing what she can.
Overcome.
I should have 5-foot stutter step for that one. Alright, Dora, your turn. Why don't you buff your weapon up?
This will hurt!
Nicely done, sir. Frodo's turn. I'm just going to have you straight up shoot him,
Out
Frodo.
of my way!
Oh, you only get 2 attacks? That sucks. Alright, skeletons are going in, do their thing. Flank the hell out of it. Jaethal, come on over here. Fire a searing light at this bastard. Or not. Tavia. Okay, now, last time I left this on and she still shot a acid splash at this guy. She has a bow, so I don't understand why that was a thing, because I didn't have this on autopilot. So maybe I'm just not paying attention, but let's prove it to ourselves.
Consider me provoked.
Okay, that's what I expected her to do, is actually shoot with the bow. Again, it hits, just didn't do much all for damage, but it's not surprising. Lies in a 5-foot stutter step to this fool. Still not close enough, he moved too far. Dora's turn. Right. And since we're about to take a knee here in our kingdom anyway, just give us a little haste buff. Everybody that wants to come over here and just
Run
damage
them
this fool.
through.
I wonder why it is that your pets don't get buffed and stuff like haste. Why aren't you able to do this? Alright, that worked. That was some solid damage, no less. Where's he at? Okay. He's about half, a little more than half down. Alright, skeletons, do your thing. Tavia. Auto hits auto, that's what I was told. Nice. And since you have a swift action still, we'll turn on your mid-magic rod and actually splash that fool. Very nice damage. Alright, Lindsay.
This is where I
Shoot once.
step in.
There. Liza.
Strike as one. Arrest.
Very nicely done, man. Alright, team. Okay, they didn't leave anything behind as far as corpses are concerned. So it's time to bounce out of here. But that was some cheap XP for everybody. Get the blood flowing. Let's see. Should be already on our way back to our closest city. Glenabon, I think is what it was called.
I need to catch my breath.
You will be fine. Glenshire, excuse me. Okay. From here, We just want to take a knee. I don't think we've picked up anything as far as gear from any of the bad guys to sell or anything like that. So we can just press R to rest.
Resting would be nice.
Sure would. Everyone's rested. Back out we go. Let's see. While we're waiting for something, let's talk about the artisans. I was correct in that many of the artisans, or all of the artisans, have tiers associated with their ability to gift you some of their better stuff. Having said that, how do you actually get those tiers to unlock? That's the question. So let's talk about them individually. So Bakken, one of my first artisans, he's the one that's, if I can scroll over real quick to show you, he's from our main area over here, just north of our kingdom, basically the outskirts of Old Lakes Trading Post. He's our alchemist, right? So his gifts are nowhere near as impressive as everyone else's, but for the first artisan that's guaranteed to pretty much join you and you don't have to do much for him, he's a solid choice. Now, his masterwork, or masterpiece item, is a potion of inconceivable, blah blah blah, etc. and so forth. Lots and lots of words. But basically, it's the +2 to all 6 of your stats. So strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. A permanent buff to all those things. That is his masterpiece. And to get that masterpiece, you need the highest tier to... Well, you don't need the highest tier. Let me rephrase. For the tiers, the chance that they will make you their masterpiece is based on a tier system. The lower the tier, the less likely they are to make it. But they can still make it for you. You get a better chance each time they visit if you have the highest tiers. Think of it that way, okay? So you want the tiers because it'll more likely than not include a chance that he's going to bring you the item. From there, something else to note is I may have been mistaken about when to let him just decide for himself. Deciding for himself might be perfectly fine. Yeah, I figured as much. Maybe perfectly fine for him to decide for himself to bring you the potion, but every vendor that I saw, with the exception of one, they had in their specific listing, like, bring me this, bring me that, bring me a mace, bring me a shield, bring me an armor, bring me a whatever. And in every instance, except one, the masterpiece item was listed as one of those things. So for Bakken, it's a potion. So literally, if you want him to bring you the potion, it may be, and I don't know this, but it still may be that you get a higher tier and you always ask for potions. If you do that, and you just keep getting the highest tier upgrades, then you have a solid chance of him bringing you that potion. That might be how that works. Okay? Again, I don't know that for a fact. I know that the tiers are important. And it may be that you don't have to ask him. I remember specifically someone telling me that you did not have to have him or any of your artisans specifically told to make you a masterpiece item. They will just do it. It just happens. But it never hurts to be consistent on things. So again, if you really want that thing, highly recommend that you just keep asking for potions until he brings you that thing. But how do you get his tiers up? Well, one of them was your coronation. Remember that big thing we just did to make ourselves king? That was a 2-tier upgrade. So you may notice that some of the equipment that your artisans are bringing you after you become king are better. You may be asking for the same thing over and over again, and he suddenly, or she, is bringing you something different. That's what basically you just did there. You unlocked a different tier. So it increases the chance of some of the better loot, quote unquote. Now, other ways that you can increase his tier is, and again, these may be outdated pieces of information, but it requires an arcane rank of your stats, over here. Your arcane has to be 4, supposedly, to increase it 1 tier. Your loyalty has to be a 3 or a 6. That's this guy here, to increase it a tier each. So again, we've already done one of those things. And of course, we hit our kingdom coronation, so that's another 2 right there. So we at least got a tier 3 or 4. I don't really know exactly how this works for your character for Bakken. Okay, now the reason I say that this may be incorrect information is because remember that we had a lot of people bringing us stuff when we were not tier for their items. You'll see that they require to be tier 5, 6, or 8 or something ridiculous. And we're nowhere near that level yet, but yet we've already gotten better stuff. Now that could have been again from the coronation. I can't say for sure. Also, things that upgrade it, for instance, those project upgrades, that's for our region upgrades here. All these things here unlocks a tier for somebody in almost every instance. For instance, for Bakken, there's 3 different projects that you can work on. Let's see if we actually have either of these. So we have one's called I think it's called the Econ Center, and then we have the Military Fort, and then we have the Relations Center. So again, if any of those things pop up here in the title, that's your goal. Notice that it's also tied to the area. Bakken is not the North Nile Marches, he's the outskirts. So if you see anything for the outskirts, chances are it's his upgrade. Royal Hunting Ground is going to actually be one for someone else. Trading Ground, this is an outskirts. But it doesn't say that this is one of Bakken's. So this might be something still worth doing. Magic of Candlemead Tower is one for somebody else, but again, not Bakken. We have Bread Circuses. I'm sure that was somebody's. Horse Breeding Center was definitely somebody's. Actually, 2 somebody's, because it's the Caymans. I think we have 2 artisans there. Magical Place. This is someone's as well. A stolen land. So this is probably Arlene, is my guess, because this is probably our main base. What else we got? Magic of Abandoned Keep. That's probably someone's as well. So again, it looks like we have lots of ones. Here's Guard Headquarters. That's not Bakken, but that's Varnhold, and that's one of our other artisans. Okay. So again, we have plenty of time to talk about all these ones, but I just wanted to show you that we did have some of these already. We've already completed 1 or 2. Remember that jewelry one I did the other day? And I said, hey, it seems weird that Mim, Wobblegainer, that's the one that's our jeweler, that she's suddenly bringing me better gear. Remember, she brought us, in particular, this little doodad, the Life Fail. Just out of nowhere. She just like, oh, by the way, here you go. And that was back-to-back gifts. Like, literally. She handed me a gift, and I said, hey, why don't you make me a necklace next? Or an amulet. Okay. And then the next thing I know, it cut to her handing me this amulet. And I'm like, wait, what? So that's probably because we did the jeweler. And that's, again, another tier upgrade. You see what we just did there? So we're building our rapport with the artisans. So they all have different stats that they key off of. Some are similar, some are different. Like I said, Bakken's were basically arcane, loyalty, and then, of course, the Kingdom Project stuff, which is cool, because we're planning on doing that stuff anyway. Now let's actually get back to here and decide what we're going to do next. Now, I'm not particularly tired, I don't think. We still don't have a chance to put her on this, so we might as well just straight up skip a day, or we could do another region upgrade. You know, it'll burn 7 days. The downside of that is I want to burn 14-day increments, remember? That's with our rank ups. So is there anyone that we could rank up? Nope. Val, we'll put her here as possible. No. Nope. Nope. Keston's possible. Jubilos, busy. Okay, we're back to Tristan. Okay, so we have 2 that we could actually do right now. One of these 2. So that's, again, someone that's going to get a better bonus. He's at 12 right now. What is Val sitting at? She's at a plus 12 as well. So either or. Now notice, she's community and he is stability. And he's stability rank 4, no less. And she's stability, she's community rank 3. So she's this guy right here. So the next question is who in the advisors might benefit from this? So let's actually go through the list and just talk about the ranks, okay, the stats here, okay? For Dragon, remember he's our military dwarf guy. He does a lot of stuff for us for armor and whatnot. His requires supposedly, again, a military of 8, which we're nowhere near. Stability, which is what the other guy was working on, of 5, 6, or 7. Okay, so that's pretty nice because that if we rank him up, that'd be a good upgrade. And again, we have economy up to 5. We would not be losing out on that. So ranking him up would benefit us as far as Dragon is concerned. Kingdom Projects, he wants the Dwarven Keep restored and research of the Candlemere, which I think we just had, right? So again, a solid chance for us to really get Dragon on the payroll, making him happy. Remember, he has his masterpiece item, his Onslaught. That's that full plate armor that's like plus 5 armor. That gives you a plus 8 to your strength, just like a belt of strength plus 8. And it gives you like a ground speed of like an extra plus 20 for your ground speed. So you're freaking zippy. You're like the goddamn Juggernaut, hence the name Onslaught. So you're literally just charging through battle. And that, for someone like Valerie, would be amazing. Or I could just easily give it to our, cleric buddy, Harem. He wears full plate. He's not very strong. He's like a 14. But give him an 8 on top of that. He's a 22. That's looking pretty damn pretty. See what I'm saying? So again, a solid upgrade. But that's for Dragon. For Verask, he is the one that we literally killed for him. Verask requires espionage of 5, military of 6 or 9. The Kingdom Project was the horse breeding center, which again we had, and the outdoor museum, which we've yet to see. His upgrade, his masterpiece, is called Obliteration, which is apparently a two-handed mace category. A solid upgrade. And it won't be a two-handed mace, but it will be like a Earthbreaker, if you know what those are. Basically a giant-ass fucking club. Just a huge-ass fucking massive stick to smack someone with. And that's his masterpiece item. From Verask, we talked about Shania. Remember, that's Talkie Talk. He's the one that talks all the time. And she's the one vendor. Remember, I specifically said there was all these vendors had specific categories where you could say, make me a mace, make me a shield. She's the only one that you don't get to tell what to do. She just, haha, that's funny, sir, and walks away from you every time. You're just like, bitch, I pay you. What the hell? But no, she's the one that will not take instructions. So she just brings you stuff. But, just so we're clear, her masterpiece item is called Mastery, no less. And it is a Fauchard. So if you're looking for a killer Fauchard, she's the one to kiss ass to. And she requires nothing more than economy of 8, relations of 4 and 8. And we already have relations at a 3, so we're pretty much a hop, skip, and a jump away from that one. Kingdom Projects for her was Dwarven Keep restored, and Research of Kingdom. You're seeing a pattern here. This is exactly the same thing we saw for Dragon. And again, not surprising, they're in the same territory. So again, chances of us upgrading both of them from stats are pretty unlikely because they have different stats that they are invested in. But the Kingdom projects are the same. So if you want to, kiss ass to both Dragon and Talkie Talk, here's your chance of doing so. Do those projects. Now, from there, we have Mim, my favorite, the jeweler. Well, one of my favorites. Irene is my favorite. But Mim's awesome. She's the jewelry center person, right? Now, notice something on her. This is actually quite cool because I just figured this out through the pop-ups. Go to our map, and she's in Silvershire, okay? She has a jewelry shop. And one of the upgrades you have to make is the jewelry center. That's the last thing we did yesterday, okay? So remember when I said, hey, it seems to be weird that it's benefiting her? And that's the one that made us that kick-ass necklace. So that's why, because that was one of their Kingdom projects. Another Kingdom project for her, two others. One's called Mystical Pass. My handwriting is crap. Mystical Pass, and I think the other one's called Fish Farm Village is the other one. And we haven't seen that one, I don't think, yet either. So again, those two are probably not coming anytime soon. But we did do Jewelry Center, and I'm cool with that because, again, that's a definite upgrade for her tiers. The other stuff that she requires is a culture of 6. That's this guy way the hell down here. Culture of 6. And an econ of 5 and 8. And we already have an econ of 5. So again, something else we did to make her happy. So we did 2-tier upgrades yesterday, even without realizing it. Like I said, so as long as you just keep pushing these ranks up, the artisans will be happy. But again, the Kingdom projects were also a thing. There was one weird one, though, I wanted to point out, and that's back at our capital. So let's actually go back here. Arlene, I'm skipping around a little bit here, but Arlene has, just like everyone else, she has her own magic shop, okay? Arlene's magical rarity shop. Now watch this. She actually has a weird requirement. She wants her shop, where is he going to find it? She wants it to be upgraded. So literally, she wants you to do this. And that will actually make her happy. She actually wants it all the way upgraded to a studio. Upgrade workshop to a studio. So it says Arlene's Magical Rarities Workshop. Upgrade it one more time. Now it's a studio. That's a tier right there. That's all we had to do. Basically burn some BP on it. And now she's happy. And that's cool. I mean, literally, of the weirdest things to even think about. It never dawned on me to upgrade her shop. But she specifically wants you to upgrade her shop. Now, I would do this for the other guys, too, if that's a thing that we find later is helpful. I mean, you never know. Just because someone reported in Wikipedia that it works for Arlene doesn't mean it doesn't work for the other guys. So we should definitely go around and do that. But that burned up a lot of BP, so I'm probably not going to right now. But notice this is a capital. As a city, it allowed us 2 different upgrades. So from village to town, you can upgrade it once, and from town to city, you can upgrade it a second time. Well, we are a city proper. As such, I never upgraded it, so here's our chance to upgrade it 2 separate times. That's the only reason we were able to do so. But that was a solid upgrade. And again, that's one tier right there for her. Then the next thing was she wants Arcane of 6. So literally, the more arcane, the better. Makes sense. She is a magic person. She's bringing us all these meta magic rods, right? So Arcane of 6. The other was Relations of 3 and 6. So we already have one of these done. Arcane's ways away. And again, neither are going to get to 6 anytime soon, but we'll work on it. But as far as projects now, this is fun. She requires Diamond in the Rough, which I don't think we've seen yet. Something called Fortress. And it's a magical place, which I think we've either done or will do. So that's a solid choice. But again, she's cool because Arlene, for her masterpiece item, she makes us the Grandmaster's Rod. That's the one that not only does it like in any spell you cast, like you can cast like 3 or 5 or 6 times a day, I forget what the number is, but at least 3 times a day. You can cast any spell where it's empowered and maximized, I believe. That means it does full damage, assuming it's a damaging spell, does full damage and 50% more. And this is the best part. It gives you a bonus to spell pen, or it can, oh no, it ignores spell penetration and magic resistance / magic immunity. So if you see, like, say those will-o-wisps are a fine example. Those little floating balls that shoot electricity at you all the damn time. You remember you try to hit those with spells, but unless it's magic missile, it don't do shit because they're immune to all magic except for magic missile, right? Well, if you have the meta magic rod, this Grandmaster's Rod in your hand, and again you cast a spell with the rod activated, it would not matter that they're immune to your fireball spell because they wouldn't be anymore. That's what the Grandmaster's Rod does. So that thing is baller. So when you really come across that guy as a magic caster person, which of course I'm a sword saint and therefore I am, you know I want to have that rod on hand so that I can literally like, hey, he's immune to all my spells. Well, not anymore, motherfucker. Poof, here you go, fireball to the face, bitch. Bam! Or whatever spell you're using, but it's not the point. That's a solid upgrade, and it gives you like other stuff besides too. So that's awesome. Also note something else for Arlene while we're on the topic of her making us awesome shit. Notice that the other rods that she has available to her that are just natural, like you can ask her, hey, make me a rod, make me a rod. Every time she comes back, you can ask her for the same thing. She's already made us, just to show it to you, 2 different kinds already, at least. One is the Rod of the Fearless. You see, I have one. She's actually given us 2 of those. So I have one. Let's actually hop out of here so I can show you on other people as well. And then the other one she's made for sure is the Rod of Undeath. That one we just got the other day. And we put that on her. So here's Rod of Undeath. This is one of the other rods that she makes for us. So she also has a Rod of the Fearless as well. These ones are just the normal stuff that we bought from the shop. So again, Rod of the Fearless. It's a quicken one. Rod of the Fearless, Rod of Undeath. She doesn't have any. She doesn't have, but the intensified one. That's fine. Just checking to see if anyone else has another one, because she makes multiples. And I don't see it. I don't see it. He shouldn't have any. She doesn't have any. Yeah, okay. So, that's it so far. Now, having said that, though, let's sort by type. Okay, just toppling. These are just the ones we found by various vendors. Now, other ones that she makes for you besides those 2, and of course the Grandmaster Rod, which of course you want, she also makes the Rod of Power Source. That's the one that's the +3 or +2 to your conjuration spells DC check. And it's a solid upgrade. So you want that one as well. She also makes a Rod of Flaming Vengeance. Remember, these are all the rods I kept telling you in my previous builds. If you've been watching my build videos, you'd be seeing me have like 4 to 5 rods equipped at any given time. And you're like, well, these are the ones you'd clearly want to have. Arlene makes them all. So again, you may be able to find them in the game somewhere else. I don't know that. Hell, Tenabra Steps is great for giving you just like random shit that you can't get anywhere else. Except for, through your artisans. So the fact that, you can do this is pretty baller. But if you really want those 5 rods, Arlene is your go-to person. And I thought that was pretty cool. Now, having said that, we've talked about Mim, we've talked about Arlene. What about Turval? Okay, so Turval's upgrade is tiers for Espionage 3, which you'll note that our Espionage, I think, is only right now at a 2. So that's going to need some help. That's this guy down here. It needs a 3 or an 8. Both those things will give you another tier to their upgrade. And then for Kingdom Projects, they require Guards Headquarters And what the hell does that even say? Town of Fairs. I think that's what that says. Town of Fairs, like a circus, like a fair coming to town. These are both Varnhold upgrades though. So if it says Varnhold, and you see a name that's similar to either of those things, that's one of their tier upgrades. Okay, and Tier Vault for their masterwork. Remember, this person actually already talked to us about making the masterwork. They said they found a hide. If you recall, the last time they stopped by, they found this kick-ass hide. This is a leather worker, and they would like to make something from that hide. And I thought it was the Linorm hide, thinking, oh, they're going to make us this kick-ass Linorm armor. Not something that I would wear because I'm a sword saint, but still a solid choice for one of my other teammates. Well, turns out their masterpiece item, you're going to love this, is a piece of gear called the Royal Guardian. And if you've been watching my videos, anyone that has a leather-wearing character is going to want this armor, in my opinion. Royal Guardian as a masterpiece item, just so we're clear on what it does. First, the generic stuff. It's like a studded leather +5, which is awesome. Don't kid yourself, man. That's a +8 armor class right there. Basically the equivalent of braces of armor class +8. Or probably like full plate or half plate, something like that. Just normal full plate or half plate. And again, that's solid armor. Now, having said that, it also has another benefit in that when you put it on, it gives you 20 extra hit points base. So again, you're tougher to hit, and of course you're also can take more of a beating, hence the reason you want this armor. But that's not the only reason you want this armor. The other thing that I know for sure that it does is it allows you to have, well, here, let me show it to you in armor form. Notice how this armor, this Mithril Changer +2, has a max dexterity of 6. So again, if you have a 6 or higher, the best you're going to get is a 6. Okay, anything below 6, like this character has a 3. If I put this on, even though I can't, but if I put it on, I'd still have my +3 to my armor. Okay, because this allows it. But 6 is the cap. You see that? Now, Royal Guardian, that masterpiece from Turval, allows a max dexterity, if I remember correctly, of 15 or 16. I think it's 15 though. 15, 1-5. And you'd be like, well, what's the chances you could ever get to +15 here? Well, let me show you a character who could probably benefit from something like that. Now, we don't have a proper dex-based build. One that I would think would benefit from it would be someone like Jubilost. But here's a +7. She's only at a +4. She's rocking a +6. And again, they're not done yet. Remember, they've got to get the belt of +8. Remember? So a +8 would jump this up another 2 points. So this would be a +8. Again, not 15. Yes, I understand. But there's gear and spells and such besides that that can buff your dexterity higher. So instead of +8 being the cap, you should expect it to get anywhere between +9, +10, maybe even +11. Having said that, is there anyone else that is remotely that close? He's not even using a belt for dex right now. He's at +6 naturally. If I give him a +8 belt of dexterity, this will go up another 4 points. So this will be at a +10 by default. See that? But that's not my only answer here. Here's Jubilost. He's got a +4 belt. If we give him a +8 belt, he'd go up another 2 points here to a +6. But remember, he has that kick-ass mutagen that he can drink twice a day. Remember? That mutagen, the low-level one's only a +4 to dex. And yes, it stacks. So this +4, which could be a +6, could be a +8, no problem for him. However, if we invest in his mutagen, what that means is as we level him up, if you look at his character, he has these upgrades here, and up it goes. There's a couple that you can get that increase the usefulness of your mutagen. So instead of giving only a +4 to your dex or your strength or your con, it can go up to a +6 or a +8. You see the point? So now imagine him with a +8 belt and a +8 mutagen. So that's literally a massive stack. So again, that's another +2 here and another 4 here. So it's, what was that, 6 and 10. That'd be a +10 for him, just for wearing the best belt and having the best mutagen. And again, there's other things besides that can buff him further. So he's capable of getting into the 10s, the low teens maybe even. So something like that Royal Guardian armor would be of benefit for someone like him. But he's not even the character I'm thinking of. Here's Knock Knock. He's only got a +4 thanks to the helmet he's wearing. Okay, but again, if I switched over to like a belt where it's a +8, his dexterity would go up another 2 points. So he's at a +9 now, he'd be at a +11. And again, that's if I went this way. If I did like a 1 level dip into Vivisectionist so I can keep his sneak attack love going, he could have a mutagen to chug. And that would be another +4 to his dex, and therefore another +2 on this side. So instead of an 11, he could be at a 13 for a long period of time. And he can wear leathers, and he would appreciate studded leather, I think. So again, extra HP for him and a solid dex bonus that he would be able to employ all that dex bonus. This is usually what limits him in combat, because we can't give him armor proper, because who can actually wear armor where he's got a +9 or higher? It's just unrealistic. This is one of those times where that gear is of value. And again, I could have made a character that was a dex-based character that could have totally used that armor and enjoyed it. I'm just saying that my character's not, because of the sword saying I don't want to wear armor at all. But that was a solid option, and I thought that was worth mentioning. Now the better part, again, talk about her list of cool stuff that she has available to you. Turval gets other cool things like she can make gloves, boots, belts. Okay, so those are some of the categories that you'll see. And she even make things called like she has a category that literally is a magical item. Which, what the hell does that mean? Well, some of the magical items that she can make you, this isn't necessarily an inclusive list, but this is the 3 that I thought were interesting. She can make a Cloak of the Seer. She can make an Eel Circlet. And for those of you that don't know what that little bad boy is, that's an awesome little headband that you can wear. It's like a +4 to your intelligence enhancement. So it's not the best, but it's still a solid upgrade. And the best part of it, though, is because of it's the Eel Circlet, it allows you to cast Lightning Bolt at will, which means every combat round, if you so choose, you can cast your own Lightning Bolt spell without ever running out. It only does caster level 5, so 5d6 of damage, but so what? It's free damage. And again, it's AoE. So again, give that to somebody that they could use a little bit of intelligence. Maybe they have a head slot available on like a fighter, where every time that my fighter goes into combat, for example, like I talked about the other day, what kind of cool gear could I give a fighter and have him be awesome still? I'd give him that damn circlet. Why? Because at will ability, he has a lightning bolt spell in his back pocket at all times. Someone's running away from him, he doesn't have a chance to run him down, lightning bolt, zap. And that's just funny to me. But that's one of the things that she can make for you. Other stuff that she can make, if you remember the other builds that I've done, there's, of course, the Belt of Physical Perfection +8, right? That's an 8 to your Strength, Dex, and Con. Now, that's usually overkill, and you probably only get like 1, maybe 2 in the game. But she doesn't sell those or make those for you. However, she does make another belt of interest that you might like called the Conqueror Wyrm. That's W-Y-R-M. The Wyrm is a dragon. So, the Conqueror Wyrm is a +8 con bonus. That's all it does, +8 con bonus belt. However, it does have a cool magical ability in that it allows you to turn into a black dragon of the Dragonkind 3 spell quality once a day. And that's a solid spell, because Dragonkind 3 is the biggest one, and therefore has the most strength and con associated with it. So if you want to be tough and strong and have a belt that makes you tougher and stronger, here's the belt for you. She makes that. That's Turval, again, from Varnhold. We've talked about them. Let's talk about Sherelle. That's our clothier, the one that makes us our kick-ass robes and shit. Sherelle makes us stuff based on their tiers. Their tiers are increased by Arcane 5, Divine 3, and 6. Fortunately, we have Divine at 3 already. Actually, it's at 4, so we're working our way towards 6. But Arcane is still lackluster and falling behind. We have to work on that. But for projects, Kingdom projects they'd like the one that's called Aristil's Holy Place, which I think was one of our choices under regions. Right here, there you go. That's one of the ones for Sherelle. And Royal Hunting Grounds, which I think was another one on our list, right? Right there, another one right next to it. And again, this is one that literally has no special effect, even though that's clearly a lie, because this upgrades her tier, makes her happy. So again, there is reasons to want to do these things. So again, we'll do all of them if we can, but I'm going to do the ones that benefit me first, obviously. Other things, though, for Sherelle, to note was her masterpiece item. You're going to love this one. Remember that builds that I've been doing? This is definitely going on my main. There is a robe that you can wear. That is the ultimate robe that you can wear for being a ray attacker, or anyone that does elemental damage. Why? Because it's called the ambrosial attire of arcane annihilation. That robe is I think gives you like a +4 to your ray attack spells, to your chance to hit with ray spells. It gives you a +1 damage per die for electric, fire, cold, and acid damage spells. So literally, just wearing that robe means all my spells do more damage, assuming they do one of those 4 elements. It's supposed to do force as well, I believe, but like with magic missile, but it doesn't work. And I think it's my mod, the Eldritch Arcana, that broke that. So if you're playing the vanilla version of the game, that's still a solid choice, and it's Sherelle that makes that stuff. And that's a solid upgrade for any kind of wizard, sorcerer. Hell, there's probably even a handle in there for the oracles. Even, of course, the sword saints, because again, we don't wear armor, we wear robes by and large. But basically, if you're any kind of a ray caster, this is a solid robe choice for you. And she makes more stuff, she or he makes more stuff than that. Other stuff of interest that I found was interesting, that the Leviathan's gift, which I think we already have. That's this robe of fire, robe of water, earth. Nope, air. I thought we had it. Maybe I put it back in the kitty or gave it to somebody already. But Leviathan's robe is the one that literally is like a metamagic rod, maximized metamagic rod. So like 6 spells a day you can maximize just by wearing that robe. And again, she makes that. So Sherelle's pretty good for stuff like that. She makes Envy of the Master. She makes clothes-wise. She makes, if you ask her to make you some new clothes, she'll make you actually gloves. Specifically ones called butterfly wings. And those things are baller. That's like a +5 to your resistances. All your saves, +5 or +4 or something like that. And it gives you a spell, Prismatic Spray, I think once a day. And Prismatic Spray, for those of you that don't know, I always think of it as an illusion spell just because of what it sounds like, but it's not. It's actually an evocation spell, and it does like a random effect. So it rolls like an 8-sided die, and depending on what it rolls, based on the colors of the rainbow, it does like fire damage, or it does electric damage, or it does, so it's like random as shit. But if you roll well, you can actually hit them with 2 of the beams. So I think that's a natural 8. If you do that, then it rolls again and rolls 2 separate times and picks something from those 2. You can never roll an 8 again. So again, you can do twice as much damage, technically speaking, with a lucky roll. And it's a pretty solid AoE spell, if I remember correctly. And that's something that she will bring you. Other stuff of interest was like, she makes a cape called Cloak of the Chosen, as well as another one called Strigoi's Embrace. Now that one is actually something I would like on a charisma-based caster. Why? Because Strigoi's Embrace gives you a natural +8 to your charisma. Not a natural, enhancement. I should say it the right way. An enhancement, 8 to your charisma. That's a solid upgrade for someone that's a charisma-based caster. So again, extremely valuable. And again, that's made from the Clothier that we have. Last person to talk about, last 2 people to talk about is Nazriel and Chemo. Nazriel is my favorite, and she's the one, the elf, that we had to kill for, remember? She was the one that is going to make me my best sword. The Perfection is what it's called. And that's her masterpiece. That one is like a +5 longsword, but it's also like a +2 to your swing, a +2 to your armor, a +2 to all your skills, and all your saves, just by having it in your little fisties, which is freaking baller. But that little weapon, as her masterpiece, she needs for her tier upgrades. She likes population, so she wants lots and lots of people to be in the area. So if you look at the population, where is that under? What's the population? Did I write that wrong? No, I wrote population. I wonder if that's community. Represents the kingdom's population. Okay, that's got to be community then. She wants community to be a 5 or a 9 rank. 9, yeah. Ooh. And relations to be a 6. So we have relations at a 3, but we're working on it. For Kingdom Projects, she's the one that wants the horse breeding center and the outdoor museum, which seems weird to me. She makes a crap ton of swords, specifically long swords, but also rapiers. So like the Putrid Blade, the Vein Finder, those are in her repertoire as well as the Redeemer, another sword that I want. She makes daggers like the Deceiver, Silent Whisperer, Trouble Maker, Trouble Solver. A couple of those are daggers, a couple of those are punching daggers, if that's your cup of tea. She also makes you chainmail. A couple interesting ones in there, but nothing that I would pick. She also makes something. It's a category that something to increase your speed. She makes a couple of gloves and a pair of boots besides. So swift boots, swift foot boots, which are garbage. It's like a plus 10 to your ground speed. That's it. But she makes these gloves called Lightest Touch and Steady Hand. Now, Steady Hand, I can't remember exactly what it does, but I remember part of it. Part of it was it allows you 3 times a day to cast True Strike. And it may be as a swift action. I can't remember that off the top of my brain. But if that's the case, think about that. Your swift action is burnt up by using this glove once, and then you still get to attack like normal for your combat round. That's huge. So that's the ability for me to take a fighter, let's say, someone who already hits and hits hard, and have him or her activate their glove. Poof, I can hit with a plus 20 to my swing for only that combat round. And just chop, 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 chop. Actually, I think it's not that combat round. I take that back. I think it's the very first swing. But that's not the point. If you really need to land that first blow, that's baller. That's an amazing upgrade for you. So, not Swift Glove. What the hell was it called again? Steady Hand is the gloves that you're hoping that she crafts for you. Now, the other glove, the Lightest Touch, that one I do know what it does. That's the one that's like a plus 6, I want to say, to your dexterity. So an enhancement to your dexterity, so you don't have to rely on a belt to get it that high. It's not plus 8, but it is plus 6. And it also allows you at will to cast Reduced Person. Now remember what Reduced Person does. Obviously you shrink down, but it doesn't work on undead, but it does give you extra dexterity because you're smaller. So it's a size-based bonus. So again, between the gloves and the spell that it can cast at will, you can actually have a plus 8 to your dexterity. So you see the benefit of that one? So again, for anyone that's a dex-based character, you would love having Nazriel on your side making those gloves. She makes other stuff too, like she has a category called Elven Metalwork. She has a really cool Elven Curve Blade that she makes, and you want this one if you're an Elven Curve Blade person. Nazriel is your go-to, because you just constantly ask her to make you Elven Metalwork, and eventually she'll make you Clarity. It is the only Elven Curve Blade in the game that has the Ghost Touch quality built into it. So for those of you that don't know what Ghost Touch is, if there's a bad guy that you're fighting, that they have the ghost type quality, which means they're incorporeal. So you can't hit them physically with a normal weapon. You're immune. If it's a magic weapon, you can hit them, but it only does half damage. Ghost Touch negates the half damage part. You do full damage against them, and then that's built into the weapon. That's a pretty badass upgrade. She also, for Elven Metalwork, she's all over the place. So not only can she make you this badass Elven Curve Blade, she can make you a necklace, I think. It's called Beholder of the Wind. I think I actually had her make that for me once by default already. It's like a plus 4 to dexterity kind of garbage trinket. But she will also make you a ring. And the ring is the Dragonfly Ring. For those of you that don't know what that one is and haven't been following my builds, the Dragonfly Ring is a ring that will give you a plus 8 to your dexterity. And it gives you, I think, the ability to cast Cleanse on yourself like 2 or 3 times a day or some shit for free. Which is a pretty nice little cleric spell for free for anybody. And that's a solid upgrade. Last one to talk about is Chemo. Chemo Tavin, also known as Kimmel. So if you don't remember the name, it's because he goes by 2. Kimmel wants you to have a culture of 5 and a loyalty of 4 to 8. Okay, so again, loyalty's at 3 right now, and our culture's way the hell down here to 3. So again, neither are where it needs to be. Projects for this person is Aristil's Holy Place. That's the same one we're looking at right now. And Royal Hunting Grounds, which is again something that someone else asked for. So they're probably in the same village, is the point. But Kimmel, their masterwork item, and again, this is for all you rangers out there, or people that want to aspire to be a ranger. There's a masterpiece item called a Mirror Bow. If you ever followed my videos for that character, or wanted to know about how I made a really decent, to my mind anyway, ranger build off of the Eldritch Archer Mega subclass, I went Eldritch Archer, I went Rogue, I believe, or Vivisectionist, but probably Rogue, and did enough of that so I could get the sneak attack damage up and go Arcane Trickster, and made myself a solid Arcane Trickster build using those 3 classes, where I was a ranged Arcane Trickster, where I was shooting people with a bow, so I was getting sneak attack damage from each arrow hit. Now, normally, let's take Ekin as an example. Let's hop out of here. Let's take Ekin for an example so you can see how many attacks you can expect from a solid ranger build. Okay, Ekin is this guy here. Notice he has multiple attacks already. He's not even level 20 yet. Okay, so 2 of them are coming from the fact that he has rapid shot. Then of course he has a high BAB to begin with. So a BAB of 16 right now is giving him 4 attacks. He'll finish off, I believe, at 4 still at the end of the build, plus his rapid shot. So he'll still have 5 by the end of his build, maybe 6. But if you give him like a speed buff or a speed weapon, he's at least at 7. Let's just put it at that, okay? So it's a solid chance for him to smack a target. And he does good damage depending on the type of bow he uses, right? So deadly aim, rapid shot, mini shot, all that shit is applicable here. Now, imagine someone like him that's doing almost as many of attacks, and then each attack gets sneak attack damage applied to it. We're not talking like just like 2d6 or 3d6 of damage. We're talking like a solid 8d6 of damage per arrow that hit the target, okay? That's what I made with my Eldritch Archer subclass rogue / arcane trickster build. And here's how I did it. Not only did I do it better than Ekin did, but I used Mirror Bow to do it. Now, of course, I could give Mirror Bow to him and he'd still be awesome. What Mirror Bow does as the masterpiece item from Chemo is this. Anytime an arrow hits, that you roll the attack die and you hit them with your bow and arrow, the Mirror Bow shoots out another mirror imaged arrow that does less damage but still rolls to hit the target and does like half your strength of damage or whatever. So it's not as strong. But remember, it is a to hit check too. As such, each of those arrows get sneak attack damage if they were going to get sneak attack damage, if it's applicable. So instead of hitting, say, 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 times like Ekin does, this character can hit double their attack chain. Which now again, on that attack chain, the best I think I was getting was like 4, maybe 5 hits. But then double that. So we're talking 8 to 10 hits that all of them are sneak attack applicable. They were out damaging Ekin, and they were nowhere near as good as a bowman as Ekin was. And it was because of Mirror Bow and all the sneak attack love that they had. And that's a solid upgrade. That comes from Chemo. Just saying, that's a solid character.